Hi everybody, welcome to another episode of Disrespectfully Agree with Oatman and LJ. I am LJ, across from me is Mr. Oatman.
I am Oatman in the house and I can breathe.
Oh, this time, good.
Yes.
Yeah, that's about time. Clip show over, apologies for the clip show, everybody.
That clip show, that may have
It
been...
was a really well-edited clip show.
That may have been our Citizen Kane. I mean, it was so good.
Yep.
I thought it was brilliant.
And what if Orson Welles did a clip show? That's what it is.
Exactly. Awesome.
We have a guest with us this week. He's back again, our geek in residence, Rezi.
Yeah, hello, everybody. Your geek king, geeking out king is here. So.
Why does Rez sound like he just like blew a spliff? He just, like, yeah, man, I'm just coming in here, talking about some films, you know what I'm saying?
Wow, you guys make me sound like Eddie Murphy on a bender.
He's hitting the energy hard. Welcome, Rezi. Good to have you back.
Thanks for having me back, guys. Appreciate it.
This week, we're going to tackle the DC animated film Suicide Squad Hell to Pay, directed by Sam Liu, if I'm saying that right. Written by Alan Burnett. He is a standard. He's a stalwart. He's been over the DC animated stuff for decades. And starring Christian Slater as Deadshot, Vanessa Williams as Amanda Waller, and back again, Tara Strong as Harley Quinn. Oatman, you have questions, you said?
Yes. I got confused in the beginning. Okay.
That's early.
Who was the person dressed like the Joker, and then there was a girl who seemed like Harley Quinn? Who were those two people?
It was not so much giving you these characters. You didn't even need to know who they were. They were just throwaways. This was really to set up who Deadshot was and who Amanda Waller was. Or at
Answer
least
the man's question.
The length of which they would go.
And why did they look like the Joker and Harley Quinn?
I couldn't answer that one for myself. I just knew them as just throwaway characters.
Well, here's the thing. If you're going to have throwaway characters, fine.
Yeah.
You got throwaway characters. Why make them look like two characters you know that I'm going to mistake them for? What is that about?
That DC knew you were going to mistake them for.
They should. He's dressed like a damn jester. And he's with a chick who talks like Harley Quinn, looks like her, a crazy blonde or whatever, and they're lovers. I mean, hello?
Like I said, I think the whole thing was just a throwaway. The setup is the Suicide Squad.
So those people have no names.
No name, yeah. They're like the no names here. Here's a better way of doing this. Since I'm the geek king.
That's the stupidest thing I've ever heard.
Since I'm the geek king, think of it like this. They're Star Trek red shirts.
No, that's not. No.
Yeah. Red shirts get killed off. You don't think about them and who they are.
But we don't mistake the red shirts for other people. See what I'm saying? They wouldn't trick you.
This would be like if they got a guy who looks exactly like Data.
It would be like if they had Will Riker, what's the dude's name? But no, he changed his name with Tom Riker or something.
Oh, yeah, if they got Tom Riker in there.
It'd be like if he was just walking around or whatever, and they didn't mention that wasn't William.
It's like they do a Deep Space Nine movie, and they get a redhead with short hair as a Bajoran. Exactly. And they get another shapeshifter in there. It looks exactly like Odo, but it's not Odo and it's not Kira.
And this is
this is clearly an analogy everyone can understand.
And this is the problem I have with it.
Okay.
Is because of that beginning, I spent far too much time saying, what? They killed the Joker? They killed Harley Quinn? I don't understand. I'm confused. Why are those two major characters dead? And what are we doing here? And it took me away from where I needed to be, which is understanding the backstory of Deadshot. Why not make those two completely different characters, give them a name, and then once they're dead, I get that insight into Deadshot that I need to have to tell the rest of the story.
Wow.
Rezi.
You guys are really in with the point. I just said, like I said, I'm sitting there from a movie standpoint going, okay, these are two throwaways because maybe I'm so ingrained with knowing what the Joker looks like. Any interpretation, because I've seen...
But he's Joker-esque, right?
No, not really. I mean, he had the little giggle thing. He had the little giggle thing. Yeah, but that's I take that as the madman thing. This is the madman giggle. Everyone does the madman giggle, okay? He had the chick on the side. And then other than that, when you do bleed into the story, you see that Harley Quinn is there. So now how is Harley Quinn dead if Harley Quinn is walking with the rest of
Exactly the question that I asked myself that I shouldn't have been asking. I should have been...
Throughout the entire movie you did?
No, not to the entire movie, because I actually got on the phone and called you because I got confused. I'm just saying as a moviegoer, I should not be asking, why is Harley Quinn dead? Wait a minute, she's not dead. Well, then what was that before? Was that a dream sequence? Was that Elseworld? What is that? I didn't know what was going on.
You sound like those same people who said, how does John Travolta show up again in Pulp Fiction after we saw him get killed in the middle of the movie?
That is not the same thing.
Yeah, it's not. Oh,
those are people who are slow. I mean, that story is told out of sequence. That's
but there are a lot of people, when that first came out, there are a lot of people that didn't get that.
A lot of people, a lot of people are, doing crack. But a lot of people do a lot of things.
But this was just looking at the end of a mission.
Some people are colluding with Russians. I mean, people do crazy things. I'm just saying. In the scope of storytelling, that is the stupidest decision I've ever heard in a film. It makes no sense why you would do that. You're intentionally throwing out a red herring in the beginning of your picture that doesn't serve any narrative. It would have been much stronger if those were two divergent characters. Make them both black and take them out of the jester outfit. You know what I mean? That would have been a much stronger opening for me. That's all.
No, okay.
A small quote.
Yeah. All right, we're going to start with non-spoilers.
Oh, no, that's right. We forgot to even say that, didn't we?
And we'll move into spoilers at a certain point. I'll let you know when that happens.
Well, we already had a spoiler. Nondescript character 1 and 2 had their heads blown off. I wish I knew who they were, but we don't. Spoiler alert.
Yeah.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, if you're listening, it's the end of a mission. What the mission was doesn't matter. This was just a setup to kill off 2 people so you can look and see who Amanda Waller was and who Deadshot
But I kind of knew who she was already.
You did?
She's supposed to be the Viola Davis character from the movie, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so she's kind of the scummy, morally questionable type of.
I'm looking at this the way you guys said that they're these separate. Remember, and please, if you will, people who are listening, go back and look at an earlier show that we did with Batman: The Killing Joke.
You mean that picture in which they killed the Joker?
Yeah, that one. We are telling this particular story. This is a story that happened here. It's not saying that it takes all the DC universe and saying, oh, well, Joker's dead. No, this was just a Batman Joker story. And this one here is just a Suicide Squad story. It's not so much about, say, Joker and Harley Quinn, but it's just they got these.
But what I'm saying is I agree with you.
Okay.
So then why have 2 characters that mimic them? It's not about them. That's the point. It's not about them. So why would you lead me down a primrose path?
I gotta
make me think that it's about.
We gotta move on to a different point.
Okay. Yeah.
Sorry.
Did we like the movie? Oh, man, let me start with you.
I liked it tremendously. It had an idiotic beginning.
Yeah.
Which I thought was stupid.
Okay.
And I was confused a couple of things. Like, who is this creepy Flash guy who's not Flash?
Yeah.
It was like Flash, but with a different uniform. So I don't know what that was about.
Yeah, well, part of this movie, the whole conceit of this movie and Suicide Squad in general is that we're dealing with a lot of the 3rd and 4th tier characters of the DC universe. And Captain Zoom, is it Captain Zoom or just Zoom?
Professor Zoom.
Professor Zoom?
Professor.
Yeah, Professor.
He's got a PhD? I don't know.
Are we talking about an adjunct here? I'm guessing that.
Yeah, that could be.
Even for the Flash TV show, he has this weird name I can never pronounce. All I know is that he's Zoom.
In case he's Evil Flash.
Yeah.
Oh, he's Evil Flash.
He's Evil Flash.
He's reverse Flash. That's what they do. Yeah, reverse Flash.
Okay.
So there's a lot of characters in here. They're all 3rd, 4th tier characters, and he's one of those. Although, if you're a Flash fan, he's incredibly important to that fiction. But for those of us not as familiar with Flash, as we shouldn't be, we don't know who he is. Do you have another question?
No.
Who's that guy?
It confused me a little bit because he had almost the same outfit.
Yeah, he does.
So I'm like, oh, okay. But I kind of accepted, he's like a Flash-esque.
Yeah, I mean, the Flash logo is red with a yellow lightning bolt, and this guy is yellow with red.
I got it.
It's not genius, but that's how they do evil in comics sometimes.
I got it.
And just to give you a little bit of background on him, he's supposed to be this guy who really intimidates the Flash that we know. He's a lot faster. You can kind of look at him and run backward like, what are you doing, huh?
He's faster than Flash.
A little faster.
A
little bit faster.
That's interesting. I like that. I like the conceit of the story. I like that it was a road trip story. And I loved the Winnebago. I thought it was great. I liked the Freeze character that was introduced, the female Freeze character. I thought was great. I liked the black guy who was sort of like an ex-CIA agent, but he had kind of a moral code. He even threw in some religiosity in
Bronze Tiger.
The Bronze Tiger. I thought he was great.
And the one called Killer Frost, he likes that one.
Killer Frost, yeah.
Killer Frost was good. I thought it was great characters. I thought the drawing was good.
How'd you like Copperhead?
Copperhead was good.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. How about Captain Boomerang?
This is my favorite thing where they made a comment and he's like, yes.
He's just freaking out a guy at the bus stop. Or
Captain
whatever.
Boomerang, whoever the hell he was, he's a throwaway. He could go. But the other ones were pretty good. And I thought it was weird that sort of madman, hulking villain character. I thought he was very unformed.
The Solomon Grundy style hulkish guy.
Yeah, where they were like, well, he was a famous butcher. He was Julius Caesar. I'm like, well.
Oh, you're talking about Vandal Savage.
Yeah, I'm like, well, Julius Caesar wasn't a famous butcher.
No, he is a persona. This guy, in the DC universe, you're to assume that this guy took the role of a lot of famous heavies that we know in history. Hitler, maybe he was Hitler and Stalin at the same time, kind of thing.
Okay.
It was Alexander the Great. I found to be a bit
thrown off.
I don't know.
Or Julius Caesar.
Caesar was a bit much. Genghis Khan, sure.
Well, Julius Caesar was actually pretty populist guy.
Yeah, so was Alexander the Great.
Alexander the Great, yeah. So I was like, that doesn't make sense.
But yeah, I mean, Vandal Savage, he's been around forever, and that's the whole conceit. He's just this guy that's lived forever, and he's been various people in history.
Yeah, I thought it was lazy, but it was fine. It wasn't enough to bother me. Okay. But as a history guy, I was like, that's a little lazy, but okay.
Rezi.
Yeah.
How'd you like the film?
I got into the thing with the card, as with the title of the movie, Hell to Pay. There is an item that everyone seems to be after that's going to do something very, very special for the person that holds it.
Oh, we can say what it is. Yeah, I mean, the MacGuffin of this movie is a get out of hell free card. A literal get out of hell free card. So if you're a bad guy and you die holding this card, you automatically go to heaven.
But here's my question. Is it a get out of hell card or is it a get out of death card? That's what I couldn't understand.
No, it's get out of hell.
So it's not a get out of death card.
No, no.
Okay.
But at least you don't see the fire. You get to see the clouds and everything. That's DC is even going with that route.
We didn't see that part. But generally, the conceit of this film is also the Christianity myth is true.
Yeah, everyone believes in heaven and hell.
The Christianity dogma, all of the rules of Christianity. And
so if you were a good person, the card doesn't work for you.
Well, you don't need it.
Yeah, it doesn't.
It wouldn't do anything.
Yeah.
But if you're a dark soul like our Suicide Squad anti-heroes and the villains who are also after the actual card itself, there's a lot to worry about.
Did you enjoy the film?
Oh, no, yeah, I enjoyed the film a lot.
You, in fact, I think told us we should watch this movie. After we talked about whatever DC thing and Suicide Squad, the live-action movie came up, and I think you and I didn't care for it. Oatman was fine with it.
Yeah, I liked it.
You said this is a better film.
And I just stayed with it because for some reason, and it stays within the canon of how everything has been playing out, Marvel does live action amazingly well. DC just doesn't. They try. Not everything is bad coming out of the camp. They have had some successes. Wonder Woman was great, but
sure.
And I enjoy what has come out of the DC canon, but their animated movies play so well and better than whatever Marvel comes up with anime.
Well, sure, but
it's like a reverse of everything.
It's that Bruce Timm engine who, from back in the day in the 90s Batman animated series, a lot of these guys who've been working on these are graduates of that school. They came from Batman animated series, Superman animated series, and so on.
Like you said, the Bruce Timm engine is just something that's good. They understand what our generation grew up with, and they continue to tell those stories pretty much for us.
Well, there's a mentality that cartoons are for children and a lot of those other animated endeavors. And these movies, especially this one, this is their first R-rated movie, animated movie, as I recall.
Second.
What's the first one?
Their first R-rated movie was The Killing Joke.
Oh, was that R? Okay.
Yeah. And then they did Justice League, something called Dark. I still have to get to that one. But
Suicide Squad has a R-rated. Ton of squibs on these characters. They get blown up real good. They get cut up real good. They get shot real good. And blood goes everywhere. There's brief nudity, female nudity in this, and a ton of swear words. My favorite thing about this actually is the opening title sequence. It was so grindhousey. You got the grindhouse music and then the 70s grindhouse imagery with the bullets and the weird squiggly like lava lamp stuff. That was great, set a great tone. I don't know the movie quite matches it. They try to go for that grindhouse tone, but it still feels very much like kind of an edgier DC animated film. It's fine. I enjoyed it.
I enjoyed it as well. It only has one real glaring part where every time it came on, I rolled my eyes, and it's every time Deadshot's daughter came into it. Mm-hmm. What a snooze fest.
Why?
I could just care less about his daughter.
You always don't care about these characters.
Oh, my God. I'm so not into it.
But she was technically only in it for one scene at the end.
One scene of my life I'll never get back.
Oh, gosh.
I was so tired of it when he goes looking for her, and like, oh, enough.
Well, it's the same thing in the live-action version.
Yeah. But what, it echoes too much for you? The girl who knows her dad does bad things and...
I just don't care. And it's one of those things where you're not going to invest anything in her. So why should we pretend like you're going to invest anything in her? You don't care about that character.
Well, no, we're not. But we're supposed to care about Deadshot. That's why she's there.
Yeah, that's a bad reason to have a character there.
Okay. Did you care about Deadshot?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why?
For me, I'm always drawn to that trope of sort of the guy who is the put upon leader who has to hold together sort of this fragmented troop. I like that trope. And then when they introduced almost a secondary rival character to Deadshot in that the black
Bronze Tiger.
Yeah, the Tiger character. I just love that dynamic between the two. That and then and this is a spoiler alert.
Warning.
But when Deadshot kind of loses command or whatever, and he has to kind of figure that out. And then still, even though he's lost his actual title, he still is the one in the end that has to figure it out and fight for leadership of that group. I like that trope.
Yeah, I got you. But he would never be there. There's no reason for him to be there unless his daughter is a character.
Oh, I agree. I just don't think she has to be on the screen. We know about the daughter enough.
That scene was at the end of the movie for all of 5 seconds.
Well, there's another scene where he leaves the mission to go see how his daughter's doing. Enough already. Enough of the daughter.
But that leads to the thing you like, where he loses control of the mission.
Yeah, I get it. I wish they would have used another trope to do that. And then he talks to the little girls out of friend or something. Enough of that.
Man, you're cold.
They're
cold-hearted. You tell me I'm a cold-hearted man. You are cold.
It just bores me stiff. I mean, because the characters are not characters. They're one of the few characters. They might as well be those sort of pretend bad guys who fall down like dominoes.
This is like saying, why do we got to see the card that they're after? I don't care about the card. I care about these characters. Why are we following this card?
The card was more interesting. I felt the card had more definition and life to it than this daughter character of hers. That's just, I'm the daughter. I am here to be the thing. That,
all right. I'm going to cut you off before we lose more listeners.
Oh my God, she was so bored.
Those are our general reactions. We're going to jump now into spoiler territory. Spoiler alert, everybody. Last chance.
Warning.
Here we go.
My spoiler is this.
Okay.
If the reason I was asking about the card is, if the conceit of the card is it is in a sense a redemption card to redeem a wayward soul, to free them from the bonds of hell.
Why does Bronze Tiger need it?
Why does Bronze Tiger need it? Clearly throughout the piece, he is portrayed as somebody who has already been redeemed. He already has accepted his Christ and Savior.
He's accepted that.
No, he's accepted Christ as Savior, but remember too, he knows that he's done all these things for his government, killing people.
But he's already asked forgiveness.
When did he ask for forgiveness? Because I thought he just knew his soul was doomed. He knew that.
He has clearly, to me at least, by the comments that he's made, they even say one of the biggest things about this guy is he won't kill anybody. He won't
anymore. He won't kill anybody
anymore. Yeah, exactly. Anymore. He's made
least
a
no
change.
Innocent people.
Yeah.
He won't murder anybody anymore. And then when he gives,
I think he will. It's just not innocent people.
He won't murder innocent people. Of course, he's not going to murder innocent people.
But even murder is still a mortal sin.
Yeah, but that has nothing to do with soldiers. Like soldiers go to war and they wear crosses on their uniforms when they're blowing people's head off. We're talking about murder, not killing. But the Bible has no problem with killing. You can kill.
Look, if we're going to get into the rules of the Bible, we could be here all day.
Well, I mean, you guys said that this is based upon a Christian conceit, and I agree with you on that. I'm just saying if we are based within a Christian conceit, he is already redeemed.
Not redeemed. He's just accepted that this is going to be his fate. He's just along with everybody else. But I don't think that he's completely say that.
I think he has already asked for forgiveness. He has clearly made amends with his Savior.
I don't think he's even asked for forgiveness. I just think he's at peace with what he's done and who he is.
Well, then you should watch that movie again and watch the way that character is constructed. Clearly, that is a guy who has redeemed himself in terms of his relationship with Christ. That's why they give him an entire monologue in there when they're
on
in the van,
Winnebago,
talking about Jesus and the importance of your higher power power and all that stuff. That's what that speech is about. That's not a guy that hasn't redeemed himself. That's why he won't kill. He's not just not murdering because it became tedious to him. He won't murder because he's made a new relationship with God.
Well,
so why does he need the card?
So if we're going to, again, going back to the idea that we take for granted that the Christian, the rules of it are true, well, clearly he does, because he glows at the end. Deadshot gives him the card. He passes away. He glows magically. And so clearly he did need to be redeemed.
But here's the question, is that maybe we have the conceit of the film wrong. Maybe what it is not about redemption. Maybe it's about freedom from death. Because he's about to die, and maybe he is then freed from death, not from hell.
No. Every character that's about to die is aware they're going to die.
And remember,
they're not looking for immortality. They're just looking to get out of the bad place.
And the Suicide Squad is primarily there to get the card for Amanda Waller. They don't care about.
But see, I don't know that I find Waller to be a character that's worried about hell.
Really?
I think she's worried about death. I don't think she's worried about hell. I think Amanda Waller is worried about dying as opposed to dying and going to hell. See, the whole conceit would then be, if I die and I go to heaven, I'm cool with it. I don't get that feel from Waller. Waller doesn't want to go to heaven. She doesn't want to leave here. She doesn't want to die. That's what she's trying to be saved from. She's trying to be saved from death. The Zoom character, he isn't really talking about hell. He doesn't want to die. He's talking about death, not freedom from hell, which is different.
Well, Zoom is a character who's aware he's going to die. He's bought himself some time in order to get out of the bad place. Same thing with Vandal Savage. They say, well, aren't you immortal? And he's like, yeah, but that doesn't mean I'm invulnerable.
Of course.
If I die, this card will at least let me go to the good place.
Yeah, I think with him, you're right.
The card literally says, get out of hell free. What do you want me to tell you?
No, I'm saying it's sort of like when you were telling me about your students. Sometimes you can build a world and just not build it well. I'm saying if that's supposed to be the conceit, that isn't consistent throughout.
I will go along with you in saying that Amanda Waller doesn't seem like the character that would believe in an afterlife.
Nope.
I'll grant you that. Like, if you're saying it doesn't make sense that she's the one who wants the card for that reason, sure. I got you.
Well, but I'm going to flip it and say that the guy who ends up using it, if it's about redemption, I don't think he needs it. I think he's already been redeemed.
I can go along with the guy who is so damned. There is nothing he can do to redeem himself in his own eyes or even in his own
he accepts his fate,
if that's true, then that's not based in Christian dogma. Christian dogma is based in, I can murder 33 children and chop their heads off.
I got bad news for you. There's a lot of different versions of Christian dogma.
Yeah, but most of them are fairly consistent on this point across the different canons, that as long as I look into the face of God, accept God's love, and ask for forgiveness, I am then forgiven. That's the basis of almost every Christian text, Christian sect that I know of.
I think also, too, that we're sitting there and God's going to eventually go, hey, look, come on. I mean, like Hitler, I'm sorry I killed everyone, dear Jesus. Please forgive me. I'm sure he's like,
But that's not Christian dogma. That may be how you feel personally. And as somebody who is not a Christian, I get what you're saying, but that's not what Christian dogma is. Christian dogma is you can kill 50 people and say, you know what, God, I'm ready to accept you into my heart and I need to be forgiven. There's nobody below redemption. If this is based in that, then the ending doesn't make sense.
I want to talk about the male stripper, former Dr. Fate.
Oh,
that's another problematic issue.
Yeah, I had a problem with that.
Now,
I enjoyed it because I got what they were doing, but it makes no sense to the fabric of the story.
It makes no sense to me in the DC universe. Now, Reza, you might have to help me out here. Now, Dr. Fate, they get new ones of those?
Yeah, this is something. Think of Dr. Fate as Doctor Who. Every now and again, you're going to get
but some of them are idiots.
But
some are complete.
Really?
Yeah,
really.
Because that's crazy. So the guy,
it's like the helmet makes you smart, but the guy himself you can be as dumb as anything.
Oh, so he's like a vessel.
You're actually a vessel for a thing that's smarter than you. You're wearing this helmet.
Hold on.
Yeah,
that makes sense.
Hold on though. He put on the helmet and he still acted like a dummy.
No, he did.
He was dumb.
Well, maybe it was when he's telling the story with Banshee. Hold on, let me say it. When he's telling the story with about him and Banshee meeting up, if we take him at his word anyway, he's wearing the helmet, he's still Dr. Fate at that time, and he's still trying to mac on this girl who's a villain, who's also trying to kill him. he's still driven by his own primal urges when he's wearing the helmet, at least according to his own
Dr.
testimony.
Fate needs love too.
Yeah, but that's stupid.
The helmet
what
gives
he's doing
you the
is
insight
dumb.
to be able to do and have these powers and see things, but how you're going to handle it, then that's up to you. So you can actually be as smart or as dumb as you going to be, but you are Dr. Fate. There's no escaping that. You are Dr.
I get that, but why? Who's the guy who chooses these? What's the guy's name who chooses the Dr.
It's like
Fates?
some big floating.
There was like the Wizard of Oz character.
Beyond me.
I forget his name.
Well,
In any case, why is he?
That makes more sense to me.
Yeah, but he's still an idiot. Why would you choose?
That makes
if
more
he's
sense.
this all-knowing, all-powerful being, why would he choose such a dunce who's clearly going to screw up?
Well, here's the thing. If you were using somebody as a vessel, you'd almost really what you would want from a vessel, I would think, would be physical prowess.
And maybe learning.
And intellect
stupid.
might actually be
Dr. Fate isn't about physical prowess. That's not his deal.
Clearly.
Well,
according to this guy, but that's not what Dr. Fate's deal is. He's not a crime fighter. He's not punching dudes.
No, I'm not saying he's punching dudes, but I'm just saying that might be more what you want from a vessel than intellect. Intellect might actually be an impediment to something that is going to take over your mind.
Not
I
in
hope
this
this
case.
doesn't sound too silly. What if the helmet actually wants to see the worst of humanity? Okay, this is how dumb these vessels can
Then they would have
sometimes
needed
get.
to explain
And then-
that in the story.
Well, yeah. Well, this is something that I would know from the
Well, it makes sense to
to
me a little more now that you say that the helmet is the
actually
fate
the
is in the
Dr. Fate, yeah.
helmet, and that the body is more or less a vessel.
Yeah, it becomes everything. Yeah,
I'll buy that.
You're actually an extension of the helmet.
I don't know that it was executed well, but I at least did it a little more.
I'd buy that if that's what we saw.
I thought it was one of those things where, and I see this sometimes in film, where they will step outside the fabric of the storytelling in order to give you comic relief. And sometimes like, okay, this doesn't fit this story arc really.
Example.
But I need to put some chuckles in here from all of these bodies that are dropping everywhere. And so when he came on, I got what it was. It was, hey, we keep shooting people in the face. We need to lighten this up a little taste. Here's your comic relief. Please enjoy. So I was like, yeah, okay, I guess I'll take that. And it was fairly comical. It didn't go on for too long. I agree with you. I don't think it was executed well. Because you're right, we needed to see that transformation when he puts the helmet on and he's talking to the lady.
But then that's
superhero.
also taking you into understanding another character that's not actually part of the Suicide Squad. You really didn't need him. I know it would have helped the narrative if you had some background and some explanation as to that, but
Well, if
it
we
probably
could have
wouldn't
saw,
have fit to drive the
if we could
story
have saw
forward
a
anyway,
honest to
so
God
it-
transformation of him from, like I'm a huge Supernatural fan.
They don't need to spend a lot of time.
You are?
I'm a huge Supernatural fan. And in Supernatural,
Nice.
they do a thing where the devil jumps into different bodies. And the second that the devil is in that body, no matter what actor it is, they become that thing. You can almost see that they stand different and they transform into it.
They're that same swagger and everything else.
Same swagger, and it's like, oh, I can almost see the character in the actor playing it. We didn't get to see that here.
This is solved by a 1 or 2 lines of dialogue,
I
quite
agree.
frankly. They
No,
just
I agree.
didn't do it.
I agree. They did not execute it as well as they could have.
Yeah,
but
that's
but I
what came
think
to the
I think
conclusion.
the mistake that we're talking isn't a mistake. It's intentional. I think they made an intentional decision to step away from the narrative and create a funny moment here.
That is intentional. I'm fine with that. It's just, it doesn't make sense for the world.
I agree, but I think they were okay with that.
Yeah, fine. I still don't like it. Zoom. I actually liked what they were doing with this guy. When he shows up and he goes running after the RV, and any of us who are familiar with the Flash or Zoom, we got to be like, he's running really slow.
Yeah, what's going on?
And Deadshot even comments on that.
yeah, he's like, why could I see him?
something weird's going on here. And we get other clues that something weird's going on with him throughout the thing. And when we finally learn what it is, we're like, what the...
I love that.
And it turns out it was cool. And it turns out it's this weird. I despise a lot of what DC does with their metaphysical mumbo jumbo pseudoscience, especially when it comes to Flash type characters. This is actually weirdly connected to the continuity of Flashpoint Paradox. That movie. This is one of the few times where they actually connect that
was
continuity.
the spoiler alert that I remember.
That's the spoiler alert.
Yeah,
okay, so that's what it is.
Explain what it was. I missed
It's the character from. Go ahead, Rizzy.
There was a DC movie called Flashpoint Paradox, and this one took place with the Flash. He ran back in time to save his mother and ended up changing the scope of everything. Bruce Wayne was the one who got killed in the alleyway. The mom went crazy. Dad became Batman.
Thomas Wayne.
Yeah, Thomas Wayne.
Was he a good Batman?
is
pretty
kind of
devastating. That Batman worked with guns. He didn't mind using guns. Well, wait. Superman wasn't
That Batman
found
was
by
a killer.
the Superman wasn't found by the lovely Kents. He was founded by the U.S. government and held in the stasis room where they just experiment with him. So when you finally do see Superman, he's this anorexic kind of like, give me a sandwich.
What
kind
movie
of,
is this?
This is Flashpoint Paradox.
Why don't we do this movie?
Well, maybe we'll do it.
It's just a tie-in. It's just a tie-in to what
jump
they
to
did.
the
I just
end.
thought, okay. You see where Zoom is shot in the head, pretty much the same way, and through the hole in his head, you see the Thomas Wayne Batman is the one that
that's
shot
Thomas
him.
Wayne who shot him.
Thomas Wayne, not Bruce Wayne.
Yeah, it's a different universe.
Yeah. He was the one that ended up killing Zoom. So now you see what Zoom was trying to escape.
So the conceit here is ridiculous conceit where he vibrates himself so hard, like as he's getting shot through the head, he vibrates so hard that he kind of freezes himself in time and
I love that.
and transmits himself to an alternate dimension.
Yes, right.
Where he's still more or less slowed. His decay is slowed enough
love that.
that he
And he's got the bullet in the head.
he's got a hole in his head.
You make me wonder about something, though. And just listening to what you just said, does that make Flash almost like a god character or the most powerful character in the DC universe?
Sometimes.
Because if you can control time like that,
That's the thing. He can't control Zoom. He says something weird, which is no one can go back in time except for Flash. He says that in this movie, Suicide Squad.
Yeah, he did, didn't he?
So he can't go back in time. I guess that's the explanation. He can only kind of slow his body down enough.
Interesting.
But weirdly, he slows his body down enough, but putting his body in a different dimension while his body is still back in the Flashpoint dimension, still
Being
frozen
shot
in that moment, being shot.
So
and killed.
what cued you that it was Thomas Wayne? You actually saw his face?
Yeah.
Or just the fact that he was using a gun?
It's more of the red eye. He's got the red eyes, and the costume's different. It's the Batman from that movie.
Is he evil?
No.
He's just a murderer.
He's Batman if Batman were the Punisher.
Yes.
Really?
There you go.
Yeah, there you go.
We got to check this out.
Okay.
You never saw this one? Or never
No,
heard
I
of it?
never heard of it.
All right. Well, we'll check it out.
Yeah.
In any case, as much as I think all of that pseudoscience, Flash stuff is BS, I still thought that was kind of cool.
Yeah, that's a nice touch back.
I
to
bought it hook, line, and sinker.
It was an interesting idea. It was cool. It's nonsense, but
I enjoyed it.
I did enjoy it.
And I enjoyed his character.
Yeah. I mean, he's evil Flash, but you're like, I get it.
But he didn't seem that evil.
Not here, but he's not interested. He's not looking to the future anymore. In any case, I think we've said enough
decimated
here.
this movie enough, okay?
Well, we've
I ended up
explored it.
liking it. Yeah, I liked the movie overall.
Enjoyed it very much. Thought it was good. And the thing that I liked about this movie, which a lot of cartoons don't have,
Animated films.
yeah, whatever, cartoons. So most cartoons, where a lot of them don't have really vibrant stakes to me. And this thing just had stakes all over the place. Every character was motivated by a very strong need to survive. That it had a real strong engine, which is sort of the birthplace of where drama lives, What does the character want that they can't have? And the one here was so very strong, you understood why they would murder, betray, double-cross each other, either to save their own lives or to create a way of life that'll probably sustain them the rest of their lives. Selling the card, whatever it was. I thought the card was a brilliant but simple device.
Simple, but it was also an important device, too. I mean,
I'm not knocking it. I think it's great.
I'm laughing at... No, I was just laughing at the important... I was just laughing at the importance that Amanda Waller put on it. I mean, she took the other 10 years off of Deadpool's sentence to get this card.
Look what you did. You said Deadpool.
I did. Oh,
careful.
Which
Deadshot.
one preceded the other?
Well, it's
I have
not
no
even
idea.
that character.
I honestly
Slade
don't know.
Wilson is the original character. He wasn't even in this movie. Slade Wilson is what's his character's name in the DC? Deathstroke.
Yeah, there we go.
Deathstroke was the original, and then Wade Wilson was like the imitation, who later became kind of this comedy character, Deadpool. Yeah. So you're 2 or 3 characters removed with Deadshot. Everybody's got the name Dead in
Deadshot
there.
is sort of a derivative of those.
No, I'm not sure who came first, Slade Wilson or Deadshot. I couldn't
They're
tell
all
you.
supposed to be expert assassins. That's all we're.
Yeah, they're largely the
the
same character, I guess. It's true. In any case, that'll do it for us on Suicide Squad Hell to Pay. Please drop us a review on the Apple iTunes Music Store or the Apple Podcast app, Google Play Music, anywhere you get your podcasts. Check us out at disagreepodcast.com. We look forward to talking at you next week.
Peace and chicken grease.
Bye, everybody.
Same old, same old.
Horrible.
It was
Horrible ending.
Horrible.
I mean, he's evil Flash, but you're like, I get it.
But he didn't seem that evil.
Not here, but he's not interested. He's not looking to the future anymore. You know, he's
Thomas Howell, right?
Let me see.
It's the Soul Man.
Oh no. No.
What was his name? Zoom here.
I'm a soul
No.
man.
Okay.
Let's leave it to just Pony Boy. And
Oh, that's right. Yeah, he was Soul Man. Oh no.
Look, let's just leave it to Pony Boy.
One of
Okay,
the
he's
greatest-
Pony Boy.
One of the greatest commentaries on race in America.
James Earl
ever.
Jones is in that film.
Right?
Yeah.
Right.
What was he doing in that
He's
movie?
like, now you see what it was to be a black man. And he looks at him and he says, no, I didn't, Professor, because I could always take it off. Oh, I see you've learned more than I thought. Right?
It's a different time.
Soul Man, baby.